Now at 10, this is Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
We begin tonight with breaking news. We are following the latest after a propane truck explosion. Take a look at this. This is a live look at the scene. This happened around 9 o'clock on Contentville Road in Mansfield. Minor injuries have been reported here. Everybody in that vehicle is safe. The scene, as you can see, is still very active, and that vehicle is a mess. We do have a crew at the scene right now getting more details. Of course, as we get any updates, we'll pass those along to you.
During the war, everybody has problems, even you, but you have nice ocean and don't feel now, but you will feel it in the future. God bless.
You don't know that.
God bless. God bless. You will not have war.
Don't tell us what we're going to feel. We're trying to solve a problem.
Okay, now to our other top story tonight. This fiery exchange happening today at the White House. President Donald Trump and Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelenskyy were meeting about a potential deal to grant the U.S. access to some of Ukraine's rare earth minerals as reimbursement for American military aid. However, that plan did not have the security guarantees Zelenskyy wanted to deter Russian President Vladimir Putin. To get more insight on this intense moment, we spoke with Matthew Schmidt, a foreign affairs expert at the University of New Haven.
I can't think of a moment in history where leaders did that. It was just shocking. That's my response at first. My second response was deeply worrying about what it meant for Ukraine and the immediate question of peace, but also for the long term for the rest of us and the structure of security in the world.
Lots of reactions still pouring in tonight. Thank you so much for joining us on the Fox 61 News at 10 o'clock. I'm Angelo Bavaro.
And I'm Bridgeport. You're with us on this Friday night. Here in Connecticut, the local Ukrainian community is just in shock over the president's conversation.
Fox 61 Stefan Reels is at the state capitol with the reaction.
Angelo, Bridget, it was less than a week ago, actually, when we were covering a rally that happened at the state capitol where hundreds of people showed up just to show their support to the Ukrainian community. Now, less than a week later, there's a whole new set of emotions to go through.
You're at risk everywhere in the country.
It's the concern that has plagued Mark Melnick for the past 3 years. As a first-generation American, Melnick still has family back in Ukraine. And while they are in the western portion of the country, a tenseness still remains for what could come.
We Ukrainians just want to be free. We don't want to be part of a reconstituted Soviet Union of any kind.
Last Saturday, his family stood outside the Lincoln Memorial in Washington, D.C., alongside thousands of people across the country wanting to show their support for the Ukrainian community. But on Friday, he says he's frustrated and disappointed of what's transpired at the White House.
Between the president and the vice president, there seemed to be just a concerted effort to start aggressively attacking President Zelenskyy.
This has never happened before, ever in American history. The only thing we've seen comparable to this was when President Reagan told President Gorbachev, take down this wall, and he said that very politely.
Alexander Kuzma with the Ukrainian Catholic University Foundation also sounding off Friday, now calling on the leader of the free world to do more to hold Putin accountable and do more to help with the reconstruction of Ukraine.
Zelenskyy did say that he wanted Trump to be a mediator and be on Ukraine's side throughout all this. Do you really see that path forward now?
It certainly has hurt the situation. I think it's going to be much tougher for President Trump to pivot and to shift his position.
Now, since his heated exchange with President Trump, a lot of people have been rushing to the side of President Zelenskyy, who actually shared his thoughts following the interaction on social media, saying on X, quote, "Thank you, America. Thank you for your support. Thank you for this visit. Thank you, President of the United States, Congress, and the American people. Ukraine needs just and lasting peace, and we are working for exactly that," end quote. Still, a lot of eyes are going to be on what will happen next for Ukraine, especially since President Zelenskyy did not sign off on President Trump's mineral deal before leaving the White House. But for now, in Hartford, Stefan Reels, Fox 61.
Okay, let's get a check on the forecast now. I know it's only risen to about 40 degrees, but I've been walking around like it's springtime out there. Yeah, with the pep in my step, without a jacket. It feels so nice.
I just wanted to continue, and I know meteorologist Deshaun Robinson, you're here telling us we're in for it this weekend. We got a little bit of heat, a little bit of cold. What's happening?
Yeah, it's like a mixed bag of weather this weekend. Tomorrow will feel nice, another spring-like day, but winter returns on Sunday. Sunday, you're definitely going to need those heavy winter jackets. So tracking some showers tonight. Tomorrow will be another day with temperatures rising to near 60 degrees, and March will start as quiet as a lamb. So it is cloudy overhead, tracking some wet flakes on the hilltops of Litchfield County. Not looking at any accumulation from these due to the marginal temperatures. More showers in upstate New York. Some of these will work their way into Connecticut over the next few hours, but these would change over to rain showers due to the warmer temperatures. So across the state, our temperatures are ranging from the upper 30s to the lower 40s right now. And again, mostly cloudy skies for the remainder of the night, and these snow showers will change over to rain showers after midnight, and our temperatures will warm up as the night progresses. Saturday will be an unseasonably warm day here in Connecticut, with our highs ranging from the mid to upper 50s across much of the state. So another mild day for your Saturday. Then Sunday, definitely going to need those bigger winter jackets as winter returns, and the winter chill will stick with us as we start the new work week. Coming up, I'll let you know how the remainder of the work week is shaping up. Back to you guys.
A nationwide protest came to Connecticut today, and the message here is simple. Shop small or do not shop at all.
And today, protests took place across the country, including here in Connecticut, in the form of an economic blackout.
Those advocates spoke out against corporate greed and vowed to keep their dollars from profiting large corporations.
Fox 61's Emma Wolfhorst spoke with the demonstrators today in West Hartford.
What might seem like just a local protest here at the Whole Foods in West Hartford is actually part of a national movement.
The national economic blackout gained traction online, spearheaded by the group the People's Union USA. The premise: don't spend any money for 24 hours. Unlike other boycotts, which target a specific product or company, this is aimed at large corporations run by billionaires like Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk. Bezos' Amazon owns Whole Foods. Organizers emphasize they're not protesting the people who work at Whole Foods or other Amazon enterprises. They're asking Bezos and other corporate owners to reinstate policies and programs like DEI.
Diversity, equity, and inclusion.
Those in attendance Friday also took the opportunity to speak out against larger issues of corporate greed, income inequality, and a rollback of inclusive business practices. But can a 24-hour spending freeze really change anything? Patrice Luoma, a professor at Quinnipiac University, says impacting profits isn't necessarily the purpose.
I don't think one day of not shopping is going to hurt any of those big corporations, Walmart, Amazon, etc. But I think the people's voices can make a difference. And I think it can send a message, and that message can be very powerful.
And the grassroots group, which initially organized the National Economic Blackout Day on social media, has other boycotts for specific companies and stores planned for the rest of the month. Reporting in West Hartford, Emma Wolfhorst, Fox 61.
Concerns are mounting tonight over reported plans to gut the Social Security Administration. Representative John Larson was outside the East Hartford Social Security field office with other advocates today. He says President Trump and Elon Musk's Doge team want to close field offices and lay off up to half of the SSA workforce. He warns that would disrupt benefits for 70 million Americans. Representative Larson says Social Security is not a handout. It's federal insurance.
This is an earned benefit that you have paid for and deserve. It doesn't have to do with anything related to government efficiency. It has to do with providing a tax cut for the ultra wealthy.
Local SSA employees say resources are already stretched thin, and staff reductions could mean processing delays. Connecticut leaders and healthcare advocates are raising concerns about proposed federal cuts to Medicaid as well.
A lot of people concerned about this. They say thousands could be without coverage moving forward. At a press conference this morning, Democrats warned that a Republican budget resolution passed in the U.S. House could force Connecticut to shoulder a $1.5 billion burden or see a 71% spike in the number of uninsured residents. Healthcare leaders say the cuts would be devastating to community health centers, nursing homes and hospitals that rely on Medicaid funding.
Decisions are being made that are not taking into consideration the lives of thousands, hundreds of thousands of Connecticut residents that will be significantly impacted by these proposed cuts.
The budget plan calls for nearly $900 billion in cuts to Medicaid over the next decade. And GOP leaders put the blame on Democrats, saying it's their policies that created the need for cuts in the first place. In a statement, they write, quote, time and again, they reject efforts to curb waste, fraud, and abuse, refusing even basic common sense reforms like helping able-bodied individuals return to work. And if Democrats truly want to protect services for Connecticut residents, they should work with federal officials to fix the broken system instead of spending their time in front of a microphone, end quote. A former state official and a former Democratic state representative have been indicted by a federal grand jury.
That 18-count indictment charges Konstantinos Kostadiamantis and Christopher Zayogis with several offenses related to the canceling of a state audit of a Medicaid provider who engaged in health care fraud. Now, according to that indictment, the two men took part in a scheme in which Diamantis received corrupt payments and benefits from the owner of Family Eye Care in Bristol in exchange for acts concerning a state audit of the eye care's Medicaid overbilling. The U.S. Department of Justice says it happened between January and June of 2020. The owner of that eye care center, Helen Zervas, was charged separately and pleaded guilty.
And at the time, Diamantis was Deputy Secretary of the state's Office of Policy and Management. Zervas was a state representative and Zervas' fiance at the time as well. Now, the indictment also alleges bribery, bank fraud, and that the two men made multiple false statements. That's when they were interviewed by the FBI. Diamantis was previously indicted last May for corruption charges related to school construction projects. Diamantis and Zayogis appeared in court today and pleaded not guilty. They were released on $500,000 bonds. You can read more about this indictment on our website, fox61.com. Now, Republican state lawmakers say they want a federal investigation into whether election crimes in Bridgeport are part of a larger coordinated effort to defraud voters here in Connecticut. They made the request today in a letter sent to U.S. Attorney General Pam Bondi. It comes following the recent arrest of 5 people in connection to the misuse of absentee ballots during the 2023 Bridgeport Democratic mayoral election. GOP lawmakers say a federal investigation is critical here to ensure, quote, transparency and accountability. We're going to be following the story as we've done for a couple of years now, and we'll let you know what happens.
One person was injured in a stabbing yesterday in Norwich. This happened around 2:45 in the morning at the Comfort Suites on Otrobando Avenue. Officers found a man who had been stabbed on his upper body. He was taken to the hospital and is expected to be okay. The investigation continues tonight. A suspect has been identified in a shooting in West Hartford. That incident happened back on February 20th. Just before 4 p.m. on New Park Avenue, officers got to that scene to find buildings damaged by gunfire. 43-year-old Tarifi Murphy from Bloomfield was arrested and charged in connection with that. Murphy has been unable to post his $700,000 bond and will be arraigned on March 3rd. Nobody was injured and there were no victims.